Hey, Dave.
On in.
Dave on cone.
Remember, it's the shark cage.
Yes, the shark cage. Howdy,
Hi, hello.
how you doing? What's up,
Dave,
Joe?
you there?
All right. Dave?
I am here.
All right.
You're supposed to bring the snacks.
DoorDash it.
Hey, Ken. We're gonna be on TV tonight.
We're gonna record on Zoom and then I'll have to upload it to YouTube tomorrow.
Oh,
We're in the process of swapping out.
oh, cool.
computers.
It's good that's getting done though. That is not for tonight.
It's not big enough, okay, Dave?
It's the 2026, it's the.
Yeah, I have to embed it, but then people get confused.
Jeanette, which one are we starting with?
We're gonna start with supplemental 2 and supplemental 3.
The ones that were this way.
Amber said she'd probably be rolling in right at 6:30.
I don't mind waiting.
I think
because-
I heard some,
Yeah, she might be out there.
just give her a minute. If you don't mind, anybody mind?
No, I don't mind, because usually,
Yeah.
no, that's a good question, so.
Yep. The accordion folder.
But you guys didn't want books, so
It's all good.
they decided a while ago they didn't want books. They just kept leaving them in my office anyway.
The big notebooks, yeah.
We just
Hello?
Mhm.
Oh, good, I'm ready to go.
I gotta go to work. I am going to have to duck out at about 8:05, 8:10.
Yeah. Can do this.
Then you want to do the other thing.
No, 'cause we're recording.
Do you guys need a microphone?
No, so we're recording on Zoom. We're kind of in the process of swapping out the AV computer. Because Dave's on Zoom, if I do Zoom and YouTube together, it causes a lot of microphone issues. The audio is terrible. So at least this way, the audio will be better, but I have to record it and then upload it to YouTube tomorrow. So we're basically using the box. You're actually not using the goosenecks.
Okay.
Oh, I can get that on my.
Yeah, so you can move it out of your way if you want to. But that's why I put Jeanette and us here, so at least we're kind of, when we're talking, the box picks it up pretty good, so it should work out pretty well. But whenever you guys want to get started, I know Amber just got here.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're doing,
I mean, my brain is,
Supplemental 1.
Supplemental 2 and supplemental 3 to start.
Oh, 2 and 3 to start?
Yeah.
okay.
So, I wanted to start on this, so it has to do with bunging up, and the YMCA and what we're gonna do next season with Fun Pack. So what you have, your supplemental 2 is a breakdown of like purchasing a pay and display kiosk option, where instead of staffing the booth, it could just be a pay and display, you put your ticket in the window, that type of deal. And then supplemental 3 is the Wise proposal for what they were offering to staff the booth. They did include in there things like maintenance, but I find with having the facilities director position, they are covering a lot of the maintenance over there. And I think they're gonna continue to do that, obviously, throughout the season, and it's not gonna be a problem. So the Wise proposal is, to staff the booth and have their camp there. And then the alternative is, we look at some other options.
Was there any, you were looking into that, where someone comes and stays and?
Yeah,
That was pretty
so, and I'd love to do that. The problem is I don't have anywhere to put them. So you would typically, if you're gonna do like a work camper thing where you have some campers come up who seasonally travel around the country, you have to advertise it usually like November, December. And you gotta advertise, is there plumbing, is there electricity, is there internet, is there water? And we don't have any of that set up, so I wouldn't be able to advertise it and say, yeah, maybe we'll.
Bring your own
So-
stuff.
Yeah,
We'd have to have a little septic,
yeah,
electrical hookup. I mean, it's
doable. I've looked. at
it's
them.
infrastructure, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's doable. I was looking at the Pines parking area, like that's a good area to put something like that over there, because there's already a telephone pole, there's already a lot of stuff over there. You just have to put in a whatever and a place to pump up there. But you'd have to get all that stuff set up beforehand and then advertise it and then bring them on board.
Wasn't there residents there at one point?
Yeah, they had torn down that building a while ago.
Is the septic system still there?
It's still there, as far as I know. I don't know what kind of condition
was-
it's in.
Just-
Yeah, that's.
it
up to
wasn't-
the ticket.
It wasn't as old as the house. I believe, Mr. St. Clair had redone that at some point. Not sure. It would have to be checked out, I guess, but, I don't think that was original to the house, that it was more recent than not,
Okay,
but that's somewhere in the back of here.
Yeah, so,
Putting it on.
worked with Rusty as well on, how we manage a kiosk and just putting, these 2 options in front of you so we can discuss it. I don't know, where the consensus is gonna land, but I would want to, report back to the Y and say, here's what the intent is, either way, one way or the other, just so that they can prepare, for themselves.
what did the Y collect gate receipts this past season?
So I only got reports for July and August. I didn't get June and September, which typically are smaller because they're staffing it, they're not staffing it 7 days a week. So they brought in 19,000.
For
They
those 2
didn't
months?
start till later. Sorry, Joe.
No.
They didn't start till much later in June because of the documents that they had to get signed from the state.
That was their day program,
Oh.
which is different than them. They still staff the booth.
Okay.
So they start their typical time, for staffing. They have historically, I don't have that data in front of me, but historically we brought in like 30 to 32,000 in revenue from the ticket. So June is usually like 5 to 7,000. September is only a couple of days, a couple $100. So if they brought in 19,000 for July and August, I would estimate maybe 5 to 7,000 in June. That brings you up to what, 25,000, 24. So
Yep.
hypothetically, they would have brought in a lot less this year.
So it's still costing us money, a good amount to do this.
I thought one of the issues was timely reporting on their part. And so
Communication.
the June is not there, September.
Right.
is not there. Okay. Thank you.
It says in the letter about hope that our focus on improving the overall communications, strengthening our relations in 2025 has proven our interest in maintaining this historical partnership. Did you see that?
So nice.
Thank you.
If we're just going over this, right, because supplement two looks really good. How does, if you don't mind just like a quickie, how does that work?
Yeah.
So to get it installed and all that?
Yep, so the kiosk itself is $8,500. To get it installed, the company would install it. We would have to put in like a concrete pad. So I kind of factored in like all the little minor details we'd have to kind of consider. So concrete pad, maybe some bollards that would protect the kiosk. I did get some quotes for like surveillance cameras that can operate on just a mobile router, just so you have something there. It's not like internet for the whole park, but it's enough for the cameras, so you have something just to
For the point of sale?
monitor stuff. Obviously get some signage, you know, stuff for to help residents and patrons of the park. So yeah, the company would install it. It would be basically ours. We're not leasing it or anything like that. There is a monthly service fee. The service fee allows you to get like remote, you can access the kiosk remotely. So from my computer, I can see if, you know, how many tickets were bought that day or the last week or whatever.
This runs on internet and electricity.
This kiosk doesn't, I don't believe run on internet. It runs on solar.
Oh,
So they're used widely, like York, the town of York bought, I think 20 or so of them. Within the last couple of years of this particular model, I believe. There were a couple other towns, they had told me had bought into these, so they put them around if it's for street parking or their parks or whatnot.
takes cash and cards.
And there is a way, so you can set it up one of two ways. You can do pay and display, where you just go up, you pay the fee, you get a ticket, you put it in your window. You can do pay by plate, which is basically the same thing, but you're putting in your plate number, it prints out a receipt that says display this in your window. The only difference is like remotely, I could say, oh, okay, this is who's paid, so-and-so paid half rate. But I can look at the camera or, you know, the facilities director would go down there and go, they've been here all day, right? So it's just an easier way to monitor and track like who might not be paying the fees.
Would the park still be free for Lyman residents?
Oh, yeah, we
And how-
updated the dump stickers so that we've been handing them out to
Right.
people this year saying, hey, you know, this is your pass for Bumming Park. So ideally, like our facilities person would do some periodic checks, obviously not 24/7 or anything like that. But, you know, they're gonna look for that dump sticker or your ticket in the window.
How would you, I'm just curious, two questions. How would you enforce that? And then when does the Y need to know?
I don't know when the Y needs to know. I just wanted it to be one of our first discussions, because I think the sooner the better would be fair for them.
Cool.
What was your first question?
Enforcement.
Enforcement. You know, it's gonna have to be kind of trial and error. Enforcement, we'd have to put in place maybe some policies just to address that. And, you know, it's just like any of our other parks. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had people dump trash. We find out who that is. Oh, look, here's your mail and your trash, and we call the police and send the police over.
You said it comes with cameras, or we would put cameras up?
We would put cameras. I got a separate quote specifically just for cameras if we wanted to add that in just for.
Yeah, how much was that one with the, in here?
Yes, so it's on the front of SUP 2.
Yep.
And it starts with kiosk, then you
Oh,
go down to
800.
surveillance cameras, and then I put signage, posts and hardware on the bottom.
Would that need, because you said solar for the other things, would that work for that? How would that work for the camera?
The cameras just need a mobile router. There's electricity in the ticket booth, so we'd probably mount them, maybe putting them up on a pole or something in that area. And then network router and everything's included in there. So I did run that by like IT of like, is that functional? Is that enough internet service for the cameras to operate? And they agreed it was.
I looked at the recurring monthly fees of $660, and it was before I had seen
Oh,
the
yeah.
listing for 55 a month. I'm like, $660 a month? What are we, crazy?
Yeah, it's $660 annually.
Yeah, okay. I see that now, and so,
Yeah, so your initial cost up front, I'm estimating around 15,000, give or take, how much does gravel cost and concrete, whatever, and signage. And then it looks like the reoccurring annual cost is about 1,700 after that.
Any idea how much we've lost from the Y, with that 40, whatever, however much it is a year over the past 2 years, just curious.
So we historically paid them 42,000.
Yeah.
It might have been a little less a couple of other years because it's increased over time. So the last few years, it's been, I think, 42,000 a year is what we pay the Y. We used to collect the booth fees, which were around 30,000 to offset that. Then we switched it around, this year. So they're asking for a bottom line of 42,000. They're saying they'll collect the fees in lieu of payment, but whatever the difference is, we would have to bump, get them up to 42,000. So if they only collect $10,000 in a season, we got to cover the remainder, and which is hard to budget for.
And that's the first time we would do that.
Yes, that would be the first time we've
Yeah,
ever done
last
that.
year it was, you get 10,000 and whatever you get in the booth, and that's it.
To refresh, when we talked about this, because we talked about this at length last year about the Y and that we were looking at phasing out. Is that the way I remember it? Is that correct? In everybody's mind, and I remember Dave talked about this at length too, about wanting to be at net zero and so if we went with this idea, and would that be instead of?
Right.
Mhm.
So this would be, this would be the beginning of phasing out.
So if we went with that idea, then you guys would also have to decide how you want to fee structure
Right,
Laguna
so
Park.
it's not that the Y can't have their program there. It's up to you. If you want to allow them to have their program there, or do you want to charge a fee? I don't know what that's gonna look like, so it kind of all depends. If you'd prefer just go with another Y contract, then we don't really need to have that conversation because it's sorted out right there. But if you prefer to go the kiosk route, the Y is gonna have to figure out what they're gonna have to figure out, but at least, they're probably gonna come back and ask, well, what are we gonna do? Can we be at Bunganut? And what does that look like? Do they go there for free? Do we charge them a daily amount like we do the Pines?
Yeah, that's something else to consider, for sure.
This has the capability of being a positive, I'll say cash flow, but it'll be a positive cash in year one.
Well, at 15, I mean, it's already, I think, just that whole, it would pay for itself, absolutely, and then some.
Yeah,
But-
even if you had a really wonky year or, just through a pilot program, you're working out all the kinks.
Including what the Y if they use it, if they pay.
So,
You could always put it out to bid and see what camps want to go there too, for
You want to do that?
whatever dollars.
Do you normally like hash this out here? Do you put that as a separate work? That's a big thing to discuss. Do you put that as a separate workshop?
well, usually it is, and usually, Andy's here when we have a discussion about it, but,
Really up to you guys.
I thought we had, where we were at was that we were gonna phase the way it is structured out and go in a different direction. I had not considered if they were gonna stay there and do something else, or however it worked. I'm kind of in favor of, since the discussion came to that point, is just ripping the Band-Aid off and being done with it. In this form.
But we would still allow them to rent by the day, Vic, if
Oh, for sure.
if that's what they needed.
They're out on their ear, but, I would say this contract paying them $42,000, no.
Agreed.
And I don't wanna, cause we keep spending taxpayer money to subsidize that. And there's no other way to say it nicely. And I don't know if that's a good value for the taxpayers in Lyman. I don't think it is,
No,
although
40,000.
it does benefit the kids, and I don't wanna pretend that I don't care about the kids, cause I very much do, and I want them to have a camp. And have something, but I think we should work something out that's different than this.
But I thought the arrangement we had this year was on a trial basis. You give them 10 grand, they keep the proceeds that they collect and see how that went. Seems that an insufficient amount by the Y standard was collected, and they want to go back up to a 42 grand type of arrangement, which I think is exorbitant.
I scratch my head on the past few years being over 30,000, and the one year that we really want to see things in writing and verified, and it went down to 19,000. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything going on. I'm just saying it makes me scratch my head.
I agree.
My concern about this alternative is number one, this would be able to process cash,
Cash and cards.
and my immediate concerns would be evasion and also vandalism.
Absolutely.
ATMs, and particularly this would be not exactly an ATM, but a cash bearing
You
machine.
can get options that don't do cash,
Mhm,
which is totally fine. And maybe that's the route we go.
mhm.
Some people though, I think,
I'd rather have both options.
yeah, I
You
do
have
find
cameras
some,
there too,
Yeah.
so.
I've got cameras over at Kennebunk as well.
That's
Still
what-
experience.
It's
We got
paying
that
off,
person, we got the
because
person that
we
took the
see
thing out.
who they are.
yeah,
And I think word's gotten out because we haven't really had
right.
knock
We-
on
Yeah.
plastic, right?
Here's a-
Mhm.
Recently, we have where it was continual when we first started.
It seems to me the biggest deterrent over there is the lighting over there,
Mhm.
more than the cameras. So I would suggest that the lighting over here on this kiosk be such that it might be a deterrent to
Okay.
theft.
And I think
Well, I'm wondering, and I'm sorry, Joe, I'm trying to see if you're still speaking. I really can't tell. If we could, I'm sorry, were you still speaking?
No, I'm just I'm done. 10-4.
If maybe somehow we can incorporate it into the shed itself for security.
I don't know, an idea.
Yeah, like it's sort of built into like the ticket booth or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's, we now have a person that can handle projects such as that.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
I like that.
Makes sense. Otherwise,
Yeah,
the
Like
shed is-
maybe,
to check on, it does run on solar, but I have to check on, would that interrupt its solar option. However, I do think even if you don't have solar, there are others that can run on electricity.
Mm.
But I hadn't gotten that quote information from them yet. I don't think it's any more or less. It's just a whole different type of kiosk. So yeah, we can explore that.
And you would have the director maybe go every other day or something to empty out the box, so it would.
Yeah,
So-
we would
So whoever
definitely,
you
yeah,
picked.
figure out, emptying out the box or
I
like,
mean, those are good thoughts.
yeah, no, it is a good thought.
I think basically we kind of need to know where you guys want to go. If this is, if supplemental 2 is where you want us to focus, then we can look at more options and more things to do. And in the meantime, you guys can work out like a fee schedule on.
Yeah, that way I can. report
I like
to the
it.
Y And say,
I think,
here's where our intent is going, we're ironing out a few things.
Do you have any ideas for the next time we meet to talk about ideas for fee structures? Because, right, I'm not gonna come up with it off the top of my head. It's,
It would be at the regular board meeting, I would think.
Or workshops.
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's great, but also giving the opportunity for the Y to give them fees so that if they still want to use it. To me, it's a win-win.
I think posing to the Y, if we were to go with them again, it would be comparable to the 1-year contract, then again, 1-year contract that we negotiated this year, 10 grand, I know it's town money, but above and beyond that, only what you take in terms of fees at the shed. Nothing more, like nothing to the amount that they're asking for.
Yeah, I'm opposed to paying the YMCA anything, like
Okay.
like Vicky said that, you know, we're the taxpayers in Lyman are basically subsidizing this nonprofit entity that is making, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars from one camp that they run in our town. And they're, you know, asking for $42,000. And like the last 2 years, the money was at 30,000. And then it went to 19. We took in more money at the Pines by taking it away from the Y than we ever have. So for me, I think that this is a good potential for us to actually see what we can make there and improve it, you know, to make more.
Yeah.
That
So-
they give you the numbers for June and September also kind of.
And we would also have to see. Yeah, then that's true, but I mean, how, we'd have to come up with like what their responsibilities would be to run their camp there. Would we be giving them use of the building? What would a daily rate be? I mean, what would be fair? I want to be fair.
Definitely like create a policy, right? Because if we're gonna rent to the Y, essentially we can rent to whoever.
Yeah,
And
right.
we
Yeah.
just- So we would start with a policy and a fee schedule of what are you renting, number one, so we'd have to kind of draw a line, okay, you're gonna get X, Y, Z. For in this package, you know, in the Pines, you get this package for X amount of days, and over here you get this package for X amount of money. So I can, you know, work on, I would draft up policies and we'd iron that out, just like we did with the field use fees, and we adopted all the field use policies and stuff like that. But we adopted policies to address like carry in, carry out, you know, don't do bonfires and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, no, I'm not.
So we did that same thing for the Pines as well. We adopted policies. So we could do that. It's, you know, the fee structure, whatever you guys want to come up with. You know, even if we charge $300 a day for the Pines, even if we charge, you know, $300 a day, you know, for the other side to the Y, it's still a profit.
Even without the Y, would still.
And
That's-
And then if we come up with policy and whatnot, we could move into eventually, putting that out to bid, do different camps
Yeah.
and make it, oh, you know, a higher bidder,
Yeah.
Or-
I'd love to spruce up the building a little better.
yeah,
Which is
no, and
in poor shape, but,
I guess I haven't eyes on it with a facility guy. He's been putting his eyes on it and, so I like the new position. I'm glad we went with it. And let's utilize all of it.
yeah,
That's where I'd like to go. I don't want to just keep limping along like this. I like the kiosk idea, and so let's expound on that. That's my opinion personally. Let's figure it out.
yeah.
Um,
And we don't anticipate going through this whole budget package tonight, you know, as far as like doing multiple workshops and stuff, like we might just cover this and
This is the big one.
salaries. Yeah, just to,
At least the directions
Yeah,
that we're
so,
moving in.
Yeah, we need to
Let's-
know the direction
Yeah,
of this
I
in
don't wanna-
order to
'cause-
go here.
We don't want to waste
you know, maybe.
our
in the
time or yours.
Budget, I'll kind of factor in lighting, because I think that's a good point.
Find out about the solar.
Yeah,
Goes in the shed.
built in
Always
versus,
put it on the roof of the shed.
You can put the solar on the roof. And as for lighting, you know, we're talking, it's light until after you're gonna charge anyway. Don't you only charge until 5 o'clock?
7, I think,
Do you charge until 7?
for security.
Charging.
It's a security thing, like at Kennybunk Pond.
But could we get solar lighting?
And does it close
Yeah.
at sunset?
Yeah, so the gate would remain open essentially, right? And it's been open this whole time. There's been a lot of activity over there. People are using the park even right now. We haven't seen any vandalism issues, probably because when you go there, there's people having fun. So, figure we leave the gate open like we've been doing. I think lighting and stuff like that's a good idea to add some more protective barriers. And Rusty, the facilities person, would check on it periodically. I would hash this out too with the facilities person on like, what is this exactly gonna look like?
As for what the machine would charge, continue with what the rates have been of late, $20 per vehicle. I don't know how we would,
That's what the going fee is now, unless you guys wanna change it.
Yeah, we have a rate schedule usually that we look at once in a while.
It was pretty simple. It was like half rate was $10 if you were just doing like a half day. I think after 4 PM. And then for a full day was 20. And then we did seniors and veterans. So I don't know how that factors in there, you know. I can talk with the company on like, you know, what do you do? if-
How do you prove it?
Yeah, how do you prove it? What do you do? Or do you just not have it in there or stuff like that? So.
Well, I think taking a $15,000 risk with a $1,700 recurring annual cost is a step in the right direction.
I don't see it as a risk, not to disagree with you, Vic, because you're not spending the $10,000 for them. And that means we'd have to bring in another just $10,000 to break even. I think it's that's easy math, or it should be.
That could be just my choice of words, Dave, that is just saying it. It's any money that we put up that's taxpayer money, to me, we are risking. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like, it's just
Well,
words.
just my point.
But
of
thank
view
you.
is that going with a machine that is possible, if not likely, that there be evasion, vandalism, and theft. I just parked at a place yesterday down in Florida, and there was machines there. It was a human that came over to me to accept the bill to park there for the day. So just putting that out there.
So I'm hearing the general consensus is the kiosk pay and display, getting a little more information on some other logistics. And then factoring in a fee schedule for, I guess we'll call it the mansion side or something, but that's what I'm hearing.
Yes,
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
I don't think you're wrong. And I think the general consensus, I don't hear anybody objecting.
I don't even think,
Reluctance.
Well,
Yeah, there's no other
those are
alternative.
great considerations, you know, talking about lights and working with your staff to
Yeah.
empty it every day or however you do
And-
that.
So
And-
we definitely look into a little more and bring it back
Yeah.
to like the next workshop. So we might not
Sounds good.
button it up exactly tonight, but
to your vandalism concerns and whatnot, we have those everywhere.
Yeah.
And it has happened in the past, but, you know, what do? It's not everyone, and it's not like most people go to the park and they want to enjoy it and they treat it with respect. There's like an occasional one that doesn't, but, do we let that stop us? Cause I don't. We have insurance too.
So another consideration when he's getting into the weeds would be when it doesn't work, when it stops working, because you know, sometimes they do. You know, maybe not like you're gonna go in and, hey, well, you know, it didn't work, you have to pay this, but
Mhm.
just something to consider. I thought
Yeah.
that was really good.
So we could always guarantee about the machine.
That's a fact. Technology. Okay.
and we have had pretty much like 100% success rate in catching our vandals at Kennebunk Pond.
How many cameras was there? I know it was just an
Two.
estimate, what was your
Two.
800?
Oh.
Two.
Okay,
Yeah, 2 here.
thanks.
We can always add more, but I figured start at a baseline, see what works.
I like the mobile router idea too, as compared to, fiber opticing
Yeah.
the whole place.
Well, we have a mobile router on the irrigation system.
Yeah.
And that seems to work pretty well.
You still use MyRec use MyRec when people wanna do the pines or whatever?
Yep, yep, yep. This is slick.
It
Yeah.
works really well and the users, I thought users might come back and be like, I'm not tech savvy, I don't know how to do this, because I've told them all, it's okay, just go through the site, and if you run into any problems, give me a call right away. And then I get an email, so-and-so set up an account, and I was like, oh, they did it in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's great. So it seems really good on the user end.
Could the, like, if we did want to rent it out to the Y or other camps, could they also use MyRac?
Yeah, we could set it up through there. We could, or if you were talking like putting it out to bid, we could hash that out however we want.
A bunch of different
Yeah.
things.
Sorry, I'm excited about that one.
Good.
Yeah.
So I think I'll try to get a little more information and come back, next workshop, which I think is 26.
Yep, I believe it is.
For a little more consideration. But
Was that on one of these pages? Like, where did you put it on?
Well, I haven't built it in there yet because we didn't know if it was gonna be, that's why I said, if that's the consensus, then we'll have some idea of where to go.
Okay.
And how to incorporate and what information that we need for this. If people were like just absolutely against it, then we wouldn't have gone any
Yeah.
further with it.
Okay.
So we will incorporate that as we bring in more data. Okay, so supplemental 1,
Sorry, before we go on, should we set up a discussion with the Y or wait until we get further in or?
Let's,
Site?
I can tell you right now, probably object to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Their contract's over.
yeah, the contract's already run out in October.
I don't know what we.
And I know you weren't part of the prior workshops too, but we've had multiple workshops with them, and I know for myself.
I'll tell you, I watched them all.
I've said a few times, like, hey, we do want to kind of
Yeah.
take back the park for Lyman, and I think to Vicky's point earlier, it's like, we've been talking about, like, we want to kind of, figure this out, so, at least for the Y, we've been trying to communicate with them, like, where we're intending to go. It's totally up to you guys if you want to bring them in on this. I think you'll find they're gonna object, and
Well,
I don't.
I'd also like to point out that I am not a fan of the Y. I think they do great things and it's a good entity. But I feel it, and they were very useful to us in the past. We needed somebody there. And I just, this is a transition is all. It's not a
We're here for Lyman. That's what I want to take care of Lyman.
yeah,
But
no,
I would also like to give them an opportunity to, just to know that we probably won't be going through them so they can find another place. That was where I was going with that.
And that's where, like, so I've been in communication with Andy. That's why I wanted to have this conversation, so I can start reaching out to him saying, hey, here's the consensus I'm getting.
yep,
And then as we kind of, flesh out more details, do we rent it, do we not rent it, I'll continue updating him and letting him know. Because in fairness, I do want them to be able to prepare for whatever they
Have the opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do we have a consensus at this point to rent to the Y? And if so,
I would love to rent to the Y.
Yeah,
and
I don't have a problem
maybe
with
the
that.
idea, an approximation as to what it would cost. I'm
Right,
hearing
the fee
300
schedule.
a day, something like that. It'd be comparable to what the Pines. So maybe giving him that kind of feedback would help him plan.
So maybe we can have some estimate numbers at the next workshop.
Yeah.
Which are,
I'll probably draft up, like, here's what a fee schedule might look like. After I wrap my brain around some logistics and things. Just to start that and just look at it, so. We usually kind of start at like a baseline and see where we go, and
Mhm.
your packets right now are this thin. By the time we're done, they'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
about this.
Oh, yeah.
we're in pieces. Okay.
I got some shredding to do. Yep.
Okay, are we good with
Mhm.
the Y and Bunyip Park?
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right, so we decided we were gonna do salaries and benefits tonight. Because we recently had a conversation regarding salaries. So supplemental 1 is, I wrote down, this is basically a shortened version from the summary you guys had me do. 3 or 4 different scenarios in regards to salaries. So you had that big sheet. You know, if we bring everybody up to the median, if we do the hour thing, what does the hourly rate look like? And what if we don't do anything and just bring everybody up to the median? This is the shortened version from what you chose.
Weren't we doing that with the hour change?
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
So I took out the columns that you guys didn't choose.
I should just let you finish tonight.
That's okay. No, ask your questions. So this was basically the same thing that you saw, but there were 2 other columns in there. So this is a shortened version. As we discussed, there would be some steps. We were gonna leave the transfer station on a step scale. And I put in a 3% COLA. So you can see at the bottom of the list that the COLA equals 25,000 and the step scale is 7,400. So you're looking at a total increase of 16,000. You with me, KJ?
Nope.
Okay.
Don't-
I'm gonna cheat off, I was gonna say, I'm gonna cheat off a note. So my
So-
Yoda.
So this is what our current budget is. This is what we agreed to.
Okay.
These are the steps increases. This is the COLA
Oh, there's the
increase.
COLA. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's the COLA amount.
Okay.
That's the step amount, and that's the total increase.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
I'm sorry, on the left-hand side is what we have right now. With
So-
the hourly check.
So this column right here is what was budgeted. This is what we agreed to when we met. So
Okay.
this is what the 3%
Okay.
COLA on the agreement. And this is the step increase
Understood, thank you.
and the total
Got it.
increase.
Yep.
So why does it say FY 25? Where's FY 26? Am I missing that?
Oh, no, I put the wrong one on there. That's my fault. FY 26 budget.
So that is, it should just say 26.
Yeah,
Instead of 25?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, we skipped a year. All right, we saved a lot of money.
Sometimes I'm working in 3 years and I'm doing that right
Mhm.
now, plus calendar year, so my apologies.
And we're not looking to add any positions this year.
No,
That's good.
so total salary increase 16,000,
And we're changing the hours.
and we're changing the hours.
I do think I can see that changing the hours helped that increase. So I think without that, you know, a 3% COLA would have been a much larger amount. So it's. seems to have helped with
Yeah,
that.
the COLA would have been larger. And just trying to get people up to the median. When I costed it out, it would have been like $73,000 to do that.
Has anybody received any positive or negative feedback or feedback in general from constituents regarding
No, I don't.
the changes in the hours? And I'm not talking about Facebook.
No,
Directly,
that's what I said. I don't know
Directly,
Facebook
yeah.
sometimes.
I've received feedback here, so some people have expressed they're okay with it, like.
So it's
we
been,
we spoke to the staff, they're ecstatic.
Yeah.
And
as far as,
Lindsay
like,
had a couple of residents come in and actually talk to her
Mhm.
to find out what was going on. And
Yeah, I think overall, because we have it posted up front, so when people come in to register their cars and stuff like that, you know, it's like, oh, you're changing your hours. So we haven't seen significant negative feedback. You know, a couple people, you know, why are you doing that? I have had one person talk to me. But overall, in the big picture, I've seen a few people go, that's great for you guys, like, So I've seen both positive feedback.
Can I say the thing that you brought up, because I know it didn't get on YouTube, when you talked about
Yeah.
other towns sending people over, that was a big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. that'll
Can
be a
you-
relief.
Since we're recording.
Okay,
Yeah,
so basically what we started with was there were a couple positions that we needed to recruit, and there were a couple positions that left. Some really good people that we took the time to train. And they left for several reasons. We brought you guys together and we told you what their feedback was on that. And then trying to recruit people who are already trained. They had, I have my 4 days, I'm not doing that. They had, oh, I make way more money than that. So we brought you guys together and we asked you guys, okay, anybody got any ideas? To bring us to the meeting, because Lindsay had done a study on what the median is for the area on the different jobs. So any ideas on
The other
at
thing-
least getting
what
the hourly
AJ
rate?
was talking about was, we've also seen on Fridays, because all the other municipalities are Monday
the
through
other thing.
Thursday. We started noticing, folks from Sanford, folks from Alfred are registering their snowmobiles, their ATVs and stuff like that you can kind of do cross municipality. And they were telling us, we're like, wait, why are you coming here? And they said, oh, our town told us to come here. They said, you guys are open on Fridays. So I think at the time when we looked into
Yeah.
this, and this
So
has been
That
about
was
a
the
year
other
now.
thing, yeah.
I think it was Hollis and Lyman
Yeah.
with Fridays. I noticed you did some research. You said Hollis is no longer Fridays
Right,
now.
some
It was-
from their website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really us was Fridays and maybe one other town was Fridays and everyone else had no Fridays. So they were sending their residents here and, we're like, okay, great. Now we have,
so more subsidies.
yeah.
Yep, more so, that's exactly what
Thanks
was
for
going on.
that, it's just to
And you
get it out
do-
there.
You do, yeah,
Yeah.
you get a fee, right? When someone registers like an ATV or something, there's a small agent fee. I think it's like $2 or $3. but
Yeah, that's
You're
it.
paying, X amount of dollars an hour, $20-25 an hour for a clerk to process that, and you're only getting maybe $3 back. So,
My only thing was 6 o'clock versus 7 o'clock, but it's worth a try, right? See how. it
yeah,
goes. Go
I
for it.
would definitely like to try it out. I looked at some of the data on the, how many people do we process after 6 p.m. and it's not a whole lot. And the clerks have been saying for years now, they're like, man, after 6, it's a ghost town.
Guys right there.
So, I felt like what I have seen is I'm here on Wednesdays and you come in 7:30, I come in sometimes 8:30. I'm turning people away at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm saying, sorry, we don't open till 9. And, so I felt like, well, why don't we try getting earlier in on the morning? Because I have to turn away a lot of people and take down that 6 and see if that works.
So you standardized it, added still have a late.
Yeah.
shift,
Yeah,
so.
because I've 8:30, a lot of times people are knocking on the door and no, we're not open till 9. And they go, okay, and they come
And they
back.
come in all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah, so by doing the hour change, we were able to increase the hourly rate so that it is at least at the median to the area. Trying to keep people in their seats. People you gotta train. Eventually your trainers are gonna get burnt out. You're constantly recruiting. So the idea was to ask you guys, what do you have? What are your ideas? And that was one of the ideas that y'all had. I ran some numbers and that's where we are. I'm really upset that the figure knocked out on that because we had a lot of conversation on it.
So back to the list. So the admin clerk, that one went down, is that? And then the assessor assistant, did that go down because it went to part, I'm confused. 'cause it went from 88 to-
So that's now a full-time job.
Well, it went from 88 to 56. Am I looking at it wrong?
Where,
Right.
Hourly personnel,
Early.
admin clerk, 88
Yeah.
grand, figure 56 grand.
Yeah.
And so you have.
because if you look, I'll show you. If you
Like the
look,
numbers don't make sense.
I gotcha.
Yeah, at least.
All right, so
Oh,
under the admin clerk line.
Yeah.
there are two positions.
Oh, it's this one.
So
Yeah.
if you add the admin clerk and the part-time,
Yeah.
it will equal the 80.
Okay, thank you.
And I had to do that in a couple places. So transfer station is the other one.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it as 2 lines. Thank you.
So yeah, add those two together, it comes up to 86.
So it's still less.
It's less because somebody left and we had to hire in. Or we're anticipating on hiring and we haven't done it yet.
Does your training go on here? Is that somewhere else?
We do the training, as far as MMA classes and things like that, it's in your benefits section. So I was just going through the salary section before I went to the benefits and answering all your questions there.
Gonna get a lot of my new questions.
No, you're fine. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's a lot to process and take in.
I gave KJ a headache from my training session.
My head says.
Any thoughts, Dave?
No, I think everything looks, sort of like what we thought it would look like. You know, I think we're in good shape.
Same.
The health officer more than tripled from 24 to 25.
The local health of the LHS?
Yeah, it says health officer and 24 it was 455 and then 25 was 1,500. But the actual was the same, so.
The board wanted to give them an increase because we hadn't had a local health officer for years. And then when we finally got one, you know, they were doing the water test programs, they were really getting into it more than we could have expected. And for just such a weird, odd kind of job. So they've been really active, you know, following up with complaints and, you know, handling and mitigating stuff. So.
Running back and forth to Kennybunk Farm this
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah, I met with the board. They wanted to increase that a little bit. They were happy.
Oops, sorry, page 5, what is PFML?
That is paid family medical leave.
Thank
That's benefit, and if you guys are ready to move on to benefits, I will move on in that direction. Y'all good?
I'm good.
I'm really tired. I just say,
Yeah.
you good?
Yep.
Okay, so benefits, starting on page 5. So PFML, Paid Family Medical Leave Act, Janet Mills put that into effect a year ago, January of a year ago. It's 5%, it's 0.5% of gross wages.
Thought it was 1.
It's 1, so it's 0.5 for the town, 0.5 from the employees.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's a split, just like FICA.
It's a fancy name for another tax, is what it is.
Yeah,
Just saying.
so there is family medical leave law that's been on the books for quite some time now, but it's not paid. All it basically does is hold the
Guaranteed
position.
job.
Yeah, it holds the position. And some states are moving towards paid family medical leave. But the federal government has not. So the biggest thing that you're gonna see here is health insurance. So we had a 9% increase in health insurance as of January 1st. And I'm surprised they were able to keep it at that because a lot of other health insurances, if you haven't watched the news, have been going a lot higher. The other issue with health insurance is we have new people. Every time somebody leaves, somebody comes in, they can change their benefits in November. So if you have people on a single plan, we do 70% of the difference between single and family or two-person plan. So those items have changed. So that's why you're seeing such a big increase there. And another reason why it's good to keep people in their seats. So for the first 6 months, health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, I know what the first 6 months will be. And the number here is based on what people are actually taking at this time. I don't know what the last 6 months will be because it's on a calendar year. So I figured in a 10% increase.
What's MIPERS?
I'm sorry,
MIPERS, MPERS?
main PERS, it's a retirement fund. And that's the same with the 457B.
Just trying to figure, I need an acronyms list.
Yeah, I know.
Again, just the increase on health benefits, about 71 grand.
Yes. And we use that as a marketing tool when we're trying to bring people in, and a couple, well, I'd say at least one new person said that's why they came here.
And it's, you know, it's challenging when there's a revolving door, there's people moving around, because those who have left may have been on the single plan, and then as we're recruiting, we don't know who we're gonna recruit.
Right.
We can't, you know, dictate what plan they're gonna get.
We're discussing that at the fire station as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
So like we discussed when we sat down and discussed some of the feedback that we had, I'm really kind of upset that didn't tape, but when we discussed what kind of feedback we were having on, oh, forgot where I was going. I'm exhausted, sorry. Did Dave just feedback?
No, that was me, sorry.
Oh, okay. We discussed, you know, we use that as recruitment. We say, hey, you know, our neighbor may not offer that. We offer that. Come work with us. There's a lot of poaching going on between the towns because it's hard to find anybody who's trained. And we started a few years ago because we couldn't find an assessor. And we said, okay, here's somebody who's interested. Let's train them. And we've been really successful with training them, with training people and having them actually take off. But to have them poached by another town for more money or more benefits or Fridays off, or we're trying to compete, and
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
And we can only go so far. I mean,
And
this isn't
I
gonna
totally
be,
agree.
because anytime you do something and make an improvement, somebody else is gonna do something else. And so, and I think you can,
Jaffrey's looking, they were on the low scale, yeah.
I think you can also expect that there is gonna be some turnover.
Mhm.
But I mean, I understand what you're saying about trying to keep it to a minimum, and I don't disagree with that, but I think
Yeah.
you're always gonna have some.
Oh, yeah, and I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. We were trying to bring in two and we had two leave at the same time.
That was disappointing.
Yeah,
So, I
Mm.
mean, turnover happens, and I've, you know, dealt with it a lot. I think in all the places I've ever worked at, we've had to deal with the competing factor, competing factor. It's normal. I think when you have high turnover, and I've worked in places where it's just like during COVID, I worked during COVID in the medical field where everyone was just resigning, everyone was leaving, and it was that was ridiculous. I'm glad that's behind us.
I agree.
But, you know, that's why I think where I get a little concerned is like, okay, if we're starting leaning towards, you know, little turnover, normal, but if seems like it's just constant and you're, you know, if I turn around and I'm just constantly recruiting people, it's a huge drain on your resources, and then you have the impacts on our budget and how you have to manage that. That's why we try to avoid it,
it's also
Not-
negative.
100% avoid it. but
Yeah,
You don't want to be having a revolving door that's so intense. That's just.
You don't have any
draining your
continuity that
resources.
way.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, we talked a lot when we talked. It also provides negative feedback on the town. I know when I'm looking for a job, if I see, okay, this particular town has this one and this one and this one, and it's a constant, this one, this one, this one, they're constant, no, I'm not applying there. There's that factor. It's just, it has not been an employer's market since COVID.
Yeah.
It really hasn't for anyone.
Well, it's gone back now because there's not any more remote positions, so it's
Yeah.
a little harder for employees.
Yeah,
now.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely, and hopefully, I don't think we're,
Hopefully we're moving back, but
we're moving back, but.
I don't
It's still
know.
long.
I didn't have any questions on the benefit section. Anybody else watching Amber do that want to hear the little tape go up?
Mhm.
I understand the whole health, like the benefits, like why you have to put so much money in that, but I look back at the years. And like last year was the closest that we ever came and we still overshot it by $7,000. Like 44,000, 53,000.
Well, in the projections that I gave you guys when we had our conversation, the projections for the health insurance was negative. And we were making up for that negative in other lines. So basically we saved, even doing the new plan, we're still saving like $34,000 in the current year. And that is making up for that negative 20 something thousand that was in my projection up until June 30th. And that's using every actual person and what their plan is. So I understand what you're saying, but
I always
The
say, I'm
proje-
like,
the
oh, I wait for
projection-
that to come down every year to not be like so much. And I'm like, oh, last year we were really close.
the
Yeah.
projection for this year is over
I don't,
by 20 something $1,000.
And if if you stick right to the line and you go, okay, we're gonna budget this amount, no buffer, no wiggle room. You just don't know, like,
Mhm.
somebody leaves, they come in, this one wants a family plan, or somebody else leaves. Or their open enrollment is every year in
Open
November,
enrollment.
and so I might be on a single, but I could change that if I want to.
And I'm not saying cut it. Like, I just think like 10,000 is a buffer, not 44 or
Well,
53.
I
So-
don't have a buffer in here, Amber. There is no buffer in here. So I took every person and what they're getting right now. And I calculated out the first 6 months, so July to December, because we know what that number is. So I took what they're taking for plans now, figured out those first 6 months, then figured out the plans for the last 6 months at a 10% increase,
Which is a guess.
which
Yeah,
is a
I mean,
guess, but
that's
we
what
hit
budgeting
9.
is.
Yeah, we hit 9 this year. And there's no buffer here. I have no buffer in here.
So then what do you do if someone, because you can change your plan like life-changing circumstances.
yeah.
So then what would you do?
Okay, so we do have a reserve account.
Okay.
To make up for that we can draw from. We just don't have that much of a reserve. We're negative 23,000. I believe it's in 19,000 in the reserve. So it's just circumstances. So I don't have a buffer. Your buffer is in your reserve account.
What's the total amount of staff? Just curious.
Camera.
FT or PTN?
Are they all eligible for benefits?
There's
No.
Full-time.
Or
20
just full-time?
Full-time
Good.
and part-time.
What, say that again, please?
20,
20, yeah.
full-time and part-time. I'm not including,
Okay.
the stipend ones, like the ACO or the local health officer and stuff like that. Not including the planning board, they get a stipend, so I just went right down to hourly personnel and salary person. So 20. I didn't include interim CEO either. Yeah. Covering us if we needed it.
Yeah, for vacation and stuff.
I counted 20.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's exactly what.
And and I know the fire department is,
Mm.
they're not drawing in people because of their plan. Because of
Well,
their
we're
health insurance.
working on that,
Yeah, I know.
and because I think it's something that's important for retention as well. Noticed higher than average.
Yep.
Comings and goings, and that is a major reason why I've had department members speak to me about that. Speak to chief about it. I mean, it's a lot of money to pay out for
Yeah.
their families to be included in insurance.
Well, I know when my kids were little, the only reason I was working was for insurance. Or I could have stayed home.
Yeah,
And
so-
that was my reasoning for doing it. And that was my offset.
And I find it to be the biggest recruitment tool, even, thinking back to like all other companies I've done hiring and stuff for. Like you said, people look for that because they need it for their work-life balance, their families.
Is the fire department similar to here, or do they do full and then 70, or is it?
No, they
just
don't
the-
do anything for
Families.
family, and that's what we're working on.
We just started doing families here like a year before I came. So 7 years ago.
And the budget talks are going well. We've talked about it at our last two meetings, and we're not looking to add extra or more positions either.
Yeah.
They're extremely grateful and have been working well with the personnel that we have added over the last 2 years. And it's going well there, so
Yeah.
that's another plus for the budgeting process.
So are you ready to move this on?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll put it
Dave, you
down.
okay to move off of benefits?
Yep.
All right, I'll put it down as ready to move forward.
Excuse me.
All right, I have some other small ones ready. So elections is ready. That starts on third. Starts on page 15. And this was basically with Sue's input. And Diane looked at it, very, quickly. So it goes 15, 16, and 17. No, we're not looking to do an increase here at all.
Mhm.
In fact, we're doing a $50 decrease.
Mhm.
You just put the money in there for sheriffs just to have it, because I've only seen it once in 4 years.
Money for what?
Sheriffs for election held at school. Is that in June?
Yeah, we only need it for the school because the school requires it.
I was just curious,
Yeah.
'cause I'd only seen them there once.
I'm like, I did put that in there, I think. No, they've been there the
Yeah.
last 3 years.
Good thing I'm not
3
spy.
years, I think, yeah, something like that,
These two.
yeah.
I think
I
they
think
move
it's
around, they don't
3 years.
necessarily stand in
Yeah.
one place, they kind of patrol.
Kidding.
So we're at 11.3 for that.
Mhm.
Yep.
But the
Okay.
only question I have is that we've been budgeting for mileage, but not using much of it.
No, we do, so they're supposed to separate it, this is what happens when you switch people around. So when you do the postings. They're supposed to separate it out, I probably didn't. separated out, Joe, that would be mine.
Okay,
It would be up in the, it would have been charged to the other line. I probably
this
didn't
is-
even notice.
Just to
Okay,
post the
so-
warrant in the 5 places that they're required to post.
Yeah,
so once again, 2024, we budgeted for 414 for mileage. I'm on page 17. Didn't use any of it.
Oh.
For the previous year, we budgeted, 955 and used only 28.
so there's an elections conference.
Mhm.
And the town clerk, tax collector
Mhm.
hasn't gone in the
Oh.
last 2 years.
Okay,
And she retired this year.
right.
So I'm not sure if we're going, when is that? Do you remember?
So they
I think it-
usually do it September.
That's what I
depends.
thought.
The state does it.
So,
And a lot of times, sometimes it's in Augusta, sometimes it's in Bangor, so we don't know if there's hotel.
Sure.
But where we're hiring a new deputy, we have a new town clerk.
yeah,
It would make sense to
I
make sure.
think,
to have
I would
that.
hope they would go. I guess there's a lot of good information out of that.
Sometimes
But
they
no,
have
that's a
others,
good
but
point.
yeah.
So I think between turnover and stuff,
You said you didn't separate. Is it possible to find out what that actual was, or you just, it was
it
already
would
lumped into
take
it?
me a
Okay.
few, yeah.
Okay.
It's not, so the regular mileage to post the warrants is bupkis.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like 13 miles, 2 or 3 times a year. It's the mileage to and from Bangor, Augusta to do the conference.
They're like 2 days.
It
When
is
I
a 2-day
did that
conference.
one for the new elected officials, it was in Augusta. I'm glad I found a webinar one to go to.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah,
Well, and this one's specifically, like, there's 21A, that's
Yeah.
specifically through the state elections department, and I think they do go through MMA, but, yeah, it's a huge, much more involved training, because they cover all the
Yeah.
21A.
But it goes to, that one just went to 8 o'clock at night, so you know, if you can stay overnight, you want to.
Yeah,
we can make a move if you want to. What is your recommendation?
There's uncertainty as to whether or not, those in this position would be attending this.
do you believe
The
that?
new town clerk was town clerk elsewhere.
Yeah.
Other than the change allowing the unenrolled to participate in the primary, I don't know if there's any other substantive changes in terms of election law that would behoove someone to go to a training session on it.
My understanding was 21A was required at least every 2 years.
This is just for the conference. The 21 is in benefits.
Okay,
So,
Oh, I did. see that.
Oh, I don't know this one then.
so this came from quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? How about we go and ask on the new town clerk tax collector
Yeah.
if this is something that she's foreseeing
Yeah.
going to.
Mhm.
Sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
Shave it down.
Yeah, see what her thoughts are.
Sorry to jump back, but now so the general assistance training is now required for
Yep.
board members. Do you remember how much that was was that?
It's like,
$55.
It wasn't much,
it's
okay,
usually
all right.
55, yeah.
6 of them.
So on page 16, Jeanette, you have supplies postage for 2,000. We have a little note, it says C110.
What page?
Page
Oh.
16.
Okay, so here was my thoughts.
Yeah, I was like, what am I looking at? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not 110, what am I?
Cross out the 110.
Okay,
Because there's a new stamps.com, and in the stamps.com, I could put a code. So like if they're printing out postage for elections,
Mhm.
I could put the code in there and I can get a report off of
okay,
that.
so then you'll know.
So I was thinking about moving it up into 110 because you'd have to manually track it. And then I started thinking about the new stamps, the stamps.com that I have now, and the fact that I could put a code in there.
What's 110 code?
110 is department.
I don't have my list that you printed out on. I'll bring that the next one.
I get.
I didn't bring it with me today.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So. on
Were
that
we in
one-
agreement on election? Sorry.
I think we're still
I'm
talking
gonna
about.
come
Okay.
back with, I'm gonna check on the elections conference after talking with the town clerk, tax collector, and I will let you know what her thoughts are on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and-
You might
well,
have another one.
Just along the same lines in terms of postage, we had budgeted certain amounts, but not used any in 2024 and 2025.
So that, no, we didn't.
Yep.
Well, we did
Right,
use the postage,
right.
but we didn't, you have to manually track it.
Okay,
So I didn't want to say to them when they're in the throes of an election, hey, can you write down the postage? But with the
Again, we should-
stamps.com, I'm gonna implement that department code.
got it.
And hopefully that will just track it really well for us. Because
Okay.
reason it started off being put into a separate department, everybody kept asking me, what does an election cost?
Hmm.
So I started gathering it into its own little pocket here.
I like that you guys pay the ballot clerks.
Huh?
I like that you pay the ballot clerks.
Well,
I like it.
They're paid minimum wage, and as we know, Maine's minimum wage
I
is
didn't know
gonna
that.
continue to go up.
When I did it, I didn't even know you got paid, so when I got that paycheck, I was like, it's kind of cool. Great experience for sure.
It's equivalent of being on the jury,
Mhm.
basically.
Mhm.
There any more on elections?
I'm cool with it.
All right, I'll come back with the answers on that for you. Yeah, because she's gotta leave at 8:05, right?
Just because I can leave doesn't mean, because I have to, doesn't mean
No, I
everybody
think
can't stay. You could do the whole thing. huh?
I'm ready to go.
I will say that,
It's been a rough day.
I am in a job search right now. That is not for me. I'm gonna continue doing it until I come up with something else, but that is not for me.
We now have matching.
And, yeah,
Okay, general admin insurance is ready to go. My papers there. And that's on page 17. So basically, because of the way it's going, I have the actual for property and casualty, and I did a 10% increase. Who knows where it's gonna end up? But I took what we actually paid for this year. In workers' comp, I knew what the first 6 months might be. I haven't actually gotten that. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. There's an adjustment because when they do the audit, there are new positions we don't have in there. They say, okay, we'll just bill you later for that when we do the next audit. And then the last 6 months, I put in a 10% increase. Unemployment has gone down. I've been tracking it. I think part of that was, I think when we got rid of the fire department, that really helped us. We didn't get rid of them. They went to Dayton instead, but I think that really helped us with our numbers.
however, that may not always be that way. I'm not
Right,
saying there's any kind of thing going on, but it could come back that way. At some
right,
point,
it could.
but probably not this year, but I really,
Well, it absolutely, so let's talk about that in a minute. Because most of you weren't here when that happened. So basically what happened was, we implemented main PERS at the fire station. Because some of the feedback they were getting with the high turnover rate is that they could go and they could get main PERS. With first responders, main PERS is a 25-year gig. We don't get that, but they get that. And so it's beneficial for them. And when we implemented that over there, if you have another qualified, retirement plan, in some cases, you don't have to pay FICA, which is 7.65%. Unless the town or whatever entity signed what's called a 218 agreement. So back in the early 80s or so, date myself, Social Security realized, hey, we might not be the only gigs on the earth now. And all of these other retirement plans started kicking out. So they started going around and saying, hey, will you sign this paper? And if you sign the paper, it says that 218 FICA has to be first and foremost your retirement plan, whether you add other retirement plans or not. We sign the paper here. So regardless of
Can't
what we
rescind.
do, I'll go there. So through the process, in discussing that with the fire department, Dayton did not sign theirs. So a few things have happened since then. That's why they were transitioned over to Dayton. Now, California, I was talking with one of the senator's aides, California tried to take it to court to have 218 agreements rescinded. They were kicked out of court. Basically, they weren't going to hear it. The other thing that's happened since then is Susan Collins has created a bill, and now whether you pay into your Social Security and main PERS, you at least get some of your Social Security now. Before, your main PERS was too high to get Social Security. Is that making sense?
Yeah, no, I know, I'm
Okay.
aware of that law, yeah.
Yes, that she just did that. So yes, they could come back. I'll tell you right now, Matt had a really hard time with changing everything over because of the Medicare, Medicaid, and the company that does the billing. So that was a really difficult task for him when he turned it over that way, just to give you a heads up. Little history lesson.
Learned some of that, actually, the budget for last year with the fire department, you guys talked about it, so.
The 218 agreement. Yep. So that could actually happen.
At some point, I'm not saying this year and next, but it's
Yeah.
something to just keep in mind.
Yeah. Any more questions on general admin insurance?
Nope.
You got
Nope.
10 minutes, 9 minutes?
Ready to go with that one? Huh. I'm laughing. Contingency is next.
I'll never be in favor of that, so I'm gonna be consistent this year as well.
I just need to know if you want me to put it before the budget committee, as I wrote it. So we talked with the budget committee last year, and they said, okay, let's do a reserve account and put the contingency that never gets used into the reserve account. So I did that this year, and the pump blew at the transfer station. So we have $100 in that account right now. So is this something you want to put forward as it's written?
First for me, I'm listening to.
I just,
Yeah.
like, what, all that you just said, my brain is,
Are you tired?
my.
Yeah, you too. Let's go.
I'm,
You guys want to call it quits
Yeah,
now?
time of death is 7:50.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm surprised my head just.
yeah.
We're down with that. there.
Okay, thank you, cause I'm like waiting. Yes.
You're good.
The one you're reporting in the back, the next one.
No, you
Yeah,
can keep your
26.
recording until we're done. And then if you want to keep your papers, that's fine. If you really, really want to keep the 40, that's fine. But, the book